Hello, everybody, and we're here with another no joke episode, and we have lots of stuff for you guys. So how are you doing, Marcus? How's things in Germany?
Yeah, hey, everyone here. Well, thanks for joining us today. I'm doing good, and Amos, I hope you're doing fine also. And well, what a week again, right? A lot of things happened, and yeah, as Amos already said, we have a lot of things to talk about, and of course, I would like to have a look at the chat. Who is with us? I saw already Al Walski is with us. Hey Al, we got pitchforks are coming. He's from Canada or she's from Canada. We got Melissa H, of course. Hey Melissa, Cyrus is here. We got the Human Love Solidarity. And who else is with us? Let me see. Dennis McCartney is here. Thank you all for watching. Yeah. And Barbara
Cyrus,
Bartleson.
Barbara,
Hi,
yeah.
Barbara.
Hi, guys.
All right. Well, lots of things happened here. Let's have a look what we are addressing today. The most important thing, again, for the second week in a row, we got Nina Turner on our card. I think she deserved it. And it's now official. Last week, she officially announced that she would candidate for Ohio's House of Representatives seat. It's Ohio 11, if I'm not right. If I'm
Yes.
right. Um, well, and it's absolutely fantastic. This is the best message we could get in these dark times, in these strange and crazy times. To know that there is someone, who we 100% know is fighting for the people, is fighting for Americans, for the normal people, not for the super rich. And we know her, we love her temperament, and we know that she will bring a lot of power into the house floor, right, Thomas?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Right. Okay, let's start with her tweet. When she addresses the public and she says, "It's official. It's official. I'm running for Congress. I'm asking you to join me today as a part of a historic grassroots campaign, one that centers the voices of everyday working Ohioans. We have so much to do, and I hope we can do it together. Please donate." Yes, I'm pretty sure that everyone who can afford will support Nina Turner, uh, and we know that she's on the right side. And I'm curious. I'm very curious to see. Uh, First of all, if she gets elected, I think it's uh, in normally it should not be a question. If you know Nina Turner, she should get enough votes to get the seat, but we don't know what role the Democratic Party will play in it. And well, once she's elected, and I hope it will happen very soon, then I'm very curious to see how the dynamics will change within the progressive wing also. There was a lot of criticism, especially this week. We will address also this a little bit later. But let's first start the first video of Nina Turner. It's official. Can you start it? I cannot hear you.
I am a daughter of Cleveland. I was raised in this community by parents who worked very hard. My mother was a nurse's aide, my father a truck driver. I can relate to people who live in the 11th Congressional District from all walks of life. I am you. As a Cleveland City Councilwoman, I worked to secure housing for seniors. As an Ohio State Senator, I stood with working families and labor to maintain collective bargaining rights. I led the effort to create the Ohio Task Force on Community and Police Relations. I know that the struggle is real. I want to serve as your next Congresswoman because I believe that everyone deserves a good job, health care, and our children deserve to be educated from pre-K to college. I will go to Congress to help our community recover from the coronavirus, including helping small businesses and those who have been hardest hit. We are going to do great things together. Let's get to work. I am Nina Turner, and I'm running for Congress.
Yeah. Seeing this, well, even as a German, I only can say that I would love to have a woman of a caliber as Nina Turner here in Germany in politics. Unfortunately, we don't. But I see you need her more than we right now. But
Yes, we do.
she's extraordinary in my opinion, right? Amos, you wanted to say something?
Ah, yeah, I totally agree. I think it's fantastic. I'm very excited about her. I think she stands a very good chance. By the way, she's running against Kucinich. Remember Kucinich? He
Yes,
ran for
yes.
president. He was
Oh, yes. Oh, wow. Okay.
he was kind of an outsider at the time, but
It
yeah,
wasn't
it's
was Kucinich, didn't we make jokes of him? Wasn't he the guy who played the role, to serve drinks, at the first debate? Wasn't he this guy?
no, I don't think he didn't run in this election cycle. He ran like I think it was 2 cycles ago, 3 cycles ago maybe.
Okay.
It was in the early 2000s, I believe. And he's kind of a little on the progressive side, but there's nobody that can compare to Nina Turner, of course, in terms of her true progressive roots. So
Yes. And well, before we go on, let's roll the second clip of Nina.
CNN projects Joseph R. Biden Jr. is elected the 46th president of the United States.
No honeymoon. What do we mean by that? We mean that we, the people, hold the power, that we must continue to fight for what is just, right, and good, and fight against what is not just, right, and good. We mean that we must have solidarity and commitment one to another. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. What do we mean by that? That as long as there are injustices, we will continue to fight. What do we mean by that? We know that when everyday people put a little extra on their ordinary, extraordinary things happen.
The pressure on Biden starts now. We are holding him accountable because we got him elected.
We mean we will continue to pursue those things that lift and edify, and we will reject those things that do not. We mean that we will not be seduced by smiles. We need action, and we need it right now. We will not relent. And that's what we mean when we say no honeymoon.
Yeah. Well, you saw already listed, what Nina Turner stands for and what she is willing to fight for. And well, I love it. I love it that she says no honeymoon for Joe Biden, because there is no honeymoon. There is no time for honeymoon. And yeah, I'm very optimistic about, and I'm very enthusiastic about it, and to see her on the floor and to see her fight with the Schumers, Pelosi's, and all the other corporate hacks there. And well, I hope in the end it will be to the progressive win. We will see.
I've seen her open for Bernie as well. She has this amazing oratory quality of it's a real talent where she can really get an emotional response from what she's saying, and it doesn't sound fake. With a lot of politicians, modern day politicians, if they try to emulate a pathos or some sort of oratory style, it sounds fake and untrue. With
Phony,
her, I'm really it's a real talent, and I think that will serve her very well.
Yes, and that's exactly the point, because if you once have seen Nina Turner, and I've seen different not shows, but different uh, gigs she had, and it is crazy, and the most important thing is the people feel that this woman is 100% authentic. There is nothing fake. There is no acting in it. This woman is real, 100% real. And yes, I cannot wait to see her on the floor. Well, that's the good news for this week so far. And I see here there's a comment from Al Walski. Kucinich is a formidable candidate. He is known, among other things, for his short stature. Well, then I must have
True.
Yes, and Cyrus, you're right. Nina is our fire, absolutely. Yeah. All right, and now I would like to ask Amos, what can you expect from your government? You already got the huge amount of $1,200 a couple of months ago. Do you really want more? What's going on there on the floor?
It's absurd, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, so we're in a position right now where the very little assistance, government assistance, that is offered is held hostage by McConnell. It has been held hostage till now. Now they're starting to panic a little because it's starting to look like that might hurt their candidates in the runoff elections in Georgia, and that is not what they want. So they're rushing a first aid bill that's going to be, they're splitting it into two phases. One is going to be like for unemployment and addressing problems with individuals, and the second is going to be after the inauguration and dealing with businesses, more so with corporations and businesses. And that objection that he posed for previously holding this bill hostage is now attached to the second phase. So the first phase looks like it's going to pass, but it does not include a direct payment that is like that first check that people got for $1,200. And that is an issue of fight in Senate right now. And we know the situation right now. The 7.8 million Americans, nearly 8 million Americans, fell under the poverty line in the last 6 months. There's an article that is posted. I'm going to post it here in the chat as well, and it's really a travesty. Millions of Americans are poised to lose their homes at the beginning of January, unless there is some help. And it looks like there might be. They're talking about $25 billion as part of this law that's going to be the bill that's going to be passed that will deal with direct rental aid. But that doesn't. It sounds like a big number, but when you think about all the months that people were not able to pay rent in back pay, and the fact that we still don't know when this whole thing is going to end, it's not a whole lot, and it might not cover everyone. So there's still going to be people that somehow find themselves on the street. 12 million renters will owe an average of $5,000 or close to $6,000 back rent and utilities by January, and that's according to Moody Analytics. So the situation is pretty dire. Well, the way that this aid has progressed in terms of chronologically, in May 2020, Congress passed a $3.4 trillion bill. It's called the HEROES Act. It was passed in the Democratic House. And when they went to recess, they came back, they said, well, we're not going to do quite that. We're going to cut it down to $2.2 trillion, but it's still good, right? they called it the Heroes Act number 2. Those two bills included extending unemployment by 4 months, $300 a month, I think, or for 2 weeks maybe, I'm not sure. The $600 plus in supplement check, and $1,200 direct payment per adult. That's like a flat pay for every citizen, plus $500 per child. Since then, the Senate has blocked that aid under McConnell till this time, and the Senate is now on the edge of approving the bill with 300, that is equivalent to $348 billion. So we went down from $3.4 trillion in new money to $348 billion, meaning 10%, it's just 10% of what they approved in May. The rest of the 900, they're talking about a $908 billion bill. The rest of it is just basically carried over for CARES Act, but 348 billion were new. So who's fighting the fight? And here again, our hero. It's no surprise, but that is who we have here. Bernie's jumping in, and the rest of the progressives behind him, and we'll see where this goes. But I'll play a section of what he's saying about this.
I was a mayor for 8 years. I know a little bit about negotiating. I frankly don't know how.
Oops.
I was a mayor for 8 years. I know a little bit about negotiating. I frankly don't know how you negotiate from 3.4 trillion down to 348 billion. You got 10% of what you originally started with. This is not just numbers. What this is about is whether in this moment of unprecedented crisis, when families are struggling to feed their children, when 500,000 people are sleeping out on the street, when in the midst of this awful pandemic, over 90 million Americans are uninsured or underinsured, can't go to the doctor in the midst of a pandemic when they are sick, at a time when many, many millions of families are worried about getting evicted from their apartments or their homes because they no longer have the income to pay their rent or pay their mortgage. That's the crisis that we are in right now. And unfortunately, this proposal does not address that crisis to the degree that it should.
Yeah. And here is more of what he said.
And that is when you ask the American people, and the pollsters do that, and they say to the American people, we're in the midst of this terrible crisis, what do you think should happen? And overwhelmingly, some 80% of the American people, overwhelmingly Republicans, Democrats, Independents, they say that in the midst of this emergency, we need the United States government to respond to our pain. Because we don't want to get evicted. We don't want our kids to go hungry. We don't want to be saddled with incredible debt. Government has got to do something. 80% of the American people, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, understand that. And then when you ask them, what is the most important thing that can be done? And there's a long list of things. What they say the most important thing that can be done is in this moment, help my family out. Get me some money so I can pay my bills, so I don't get evicted, so I can feed my kids, so I can go to the doctor when I get sick. Get me a direct payment. As you know, Mr. President, the CARES Act provided $1,200 for every working class adult in this country. That is an individual earning less than $75,000 a year, couple $150,000 plus $500 for their kids. That means for a family of four, husband, wife, two kids, that's $3,400. Now, you don't get rich with that, but when you get a check of $3,400 for a family of four, it means that maybe you could pay your bills. Maybe you could breathe a little bit easier. Maybe come Christmas time, you might actually be able to buy your kids a few gifts. Maybe the fear of eviction is lessened just a little bit. That's what we did in the CARES Act, and that is what I wanted in this bill. Now, a week ago, 10 days ago, nobody here was talking about the need for direct payments, help for working families, despite the fact that that is the issue, the program that the American people most wanted. A lot of other important things that we're dealing with, that is what the American people wanted. Help us out. Let us make a decision. Get us some money in this time of need. And I'm happy to say, working with people like Senator Hawley of Missouri, working with the Progressive Caucus in the House of Representatives, working with Senators Gillibrand and Warren and Merkley, Markey and Wyden, working with Pramila Jayapal and many others in the House, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, Ro Khanna, and many others who have stood up in the House and say, we have got to have direct payments. I'm happy to say that as of now, and we're going to fight for more because this process is not over, the proposal, as I understand it, provides for a direct payment of $600 for every working class adult and $600 for their kids. That means for a family of four, that would be $2,400. That is half of what I wanted, but it is a step forward, and I'm going to do my best to make sure that we come as close to that $1,200 as we possibly can.
Wow. So there you have it. It's a real fight there, and it's surprising, but and we'll show that in a moment. But the Missouri Republican Senator Hawley is actually partnering with Bernie on this. And I think that that's really where Republicans stand to gain much in terms of their approval if they line themselves up with the need of the middle class and the people of the country. And right now, Democrats are not entirely on board with doing that, and that's going to create an interesting dynamic in the future if this fight progresses the way it may. So yeah, it's absurd that 600, even $1,200 per person for a single check, like not an ongoing thing, is absurd. It's ridiculous. We compare to most developed nations, like Trev mentioned, $2,000 a month. In Canada, Europe pays people as if they were working, even if they're out of work, they're getting salaries. So to prevent businesses from going under and pumping money into the economy, which makes a lot of sense. And we let our people just hang high and dry and struggle. There's hunger building up. There's people losing their homes. And when this came to Senate, and there's senators like millionaire Johnson that kind of like presented this thing like we would love to help people, but we can't afford to. This is going to put too much into our too much deficit. We just can't afford to. And that is the most absurd thing, because where were they? Where the government bailed banks and bailed businesses and so forth for the tune of trillions of dollars in the CARES Act. What about the tax reform that puts billions of dollars in the hands of rich people? Are they even considering reversing that, even temporarily? No, of course not. What about the ridiculous pumping into the military? Look at this. There is people who were this is the people who lost their health care in the during the pandemic. In all this country, nobody lost their pretty much nobody lost their coverage. In the U.S., nearly 15 million people lost their health care, and this is at the bottom. You can see how much we're spending on the military, on the military complex, over almost $800 billion. This is all these other countries, the most militarized countries in the second column combined, and then further on the right is all the rest of the countries, 144 or whatever countries, 100 and whatever left, are even that is not comparing to the U.S. military spending. But for people, we don't have money.
Well, the question raised at the beginning, how can it be that they don't have money for the people? It's the high-end version of the predator capitalism, and it shows clearly where the preferences, the importance lies for this kind of capitalism, right? So people don't matter, and only the system matters. This question was long answered. What is relevant? What is system relevant? It's not the people, it's the system itself. And this is what we're seeing here. 14,600,000 people lost their healthcare coverage. This is we are near to the year 2021. Try to get this connected and ask yourself, in what kind of humanism, what does America is or let me put the question differently: is this the American dream? 14,600,000.
Insane.
The American dream,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Damn.
It makes your blood boil. It really does. It's just unbelievable, and I think that we all have to call our senators and exert the maximum pressure on this, because it's absolutely unacceptable. And they say, well, accept what it's better than nothing. No, well, if nothing is if this is not enough to bail people out, then it's not better than nothing. Maybe, I mean, like, where does it end? People are at their bare minimum. They've crossed their borders. If they lose their homes, it's not going to be easy to find homes again. If businesses go out of business, it's not going to be like the minute we spring out of it, all these businesses are going to pop up. No, that's going to be lasting damage for years to come, and they're concerned about the deficit. Well, nobody's going to be there to pay the deficit because all these businesses are going to go out. And if you think that corporations are going to pick up the slack, good luck.
It made for so many reasons. It made absolutely no sense to pay those trillions of dollars, to corporations.
No, they're doing fine. They're doing fine.
Yeah, of course they're doing fine. Of course they don't complain,
Yeah.
But the thing is, you got this lots of money. If you would have given a certain amount of money, depending on where you live in America, of course, that you can cover your living, your being, monthly, on a monthly base. Where do you think would this money go? Do you think those people would carry the money to the bank and put it on their accounts and wait until you get until the beautiful day comes, until you get interest again? No, they would spend it into the economy. So it would have helped also the economy to go on to exist. This is exactly what we are doing here in Europe.
Right.
We are saying, we cannot close it down and leave the people where they are. Fortunately, we have strong unions here in Germany, who also are fighting for this, who also fight this for decades, that we have the living standard we have right now here. Well, if you give this money to the people, they would spend it for the things they would need on their daily base. So it would have supported also the economy.
Yeah.
But what did happen? They gave the money directly without anything to the big corporations. And what did they do? They bought their stocks back.
Yeah, the corporations are doing, a lot of the corporations are doing just fine. Billionaires, a lot of these billionaires, high-tech billionaires and stuff, Amazon and on, have increased their wealth.
Don't start with Amazon,
Yep.
This is immoral.
Yeah, and then
in my opinion, the existence of billionaires is immoral.
Yeah.
Period.
Well, that's a different discussion, but certainly, I mean, there's people like Jordan, like Johnson, come out and say, well, it's not the most useful way of doing it. Some people put it in savings in the past round, and so this is kind of a blunt instrument. Okay, it's a blunt instrument, but you have not provided anything else. You've not solved the problem. People are again in a position where it's a critical state, and now is not the time to start quibbling about it. You should have done that a month ago, and you should have pumped these monies all along. You have not done that. So now you're waking up to say this is too much. This is just unbelievable. Here's a clip of Senator. The Missouri senator that Hawley that kind of joined Bernie on this fight, and I couldn't agree with him more.
And I thank the Senator of Wisconsin for his perspective, which I always appreciate, and of course I appreciate working with Senator Johnson on so many issues. On this issue, though, I'm afraid we just are going to have to differ. And I just want to say this: nothing could be more targeted. No relief could be more important than relief for working people. Now, the senator's right. This body has spent trillions of dollars this year alone on COVID relief. We're getting ready to spend apparently another $1 trillion more. And yet, working people are told they may be last, if they get relief at all. I don't think the American people understand that. I know people in Missouri don't understand it. And I just urge members of these bodies, go home and try explaining that to the people of your state. Go ahead. Just try. Try telling them why this body can bail out the banks. We bailed out the banks to such a tune that now they've got money left over. Now we're going to take money back because we spent so much on Wall Street and the banks in the first part of this year. That's right. In fact, now I understand that my Democrat colleagues don't want to shut down all of the bank money, because who knows what we might be able to do with that in the future. Oh, they're fine. They're more than fine. They're doing great. Now, Wall Street is doing great. Big tech, they're doing great. The big multinational corporations, fantastic. Working people are living in their cars. Working people can't go to the doctor. Working people can't pay their rent. Working people can't feed their children. They should be first, Mr. President, not last. And it is no answer for this body to tell them, go get in an unemployment line. Really? That's the response? Go get in an unemployment line. Now, the working people of this country, frankly, deserve better. They deserve to be the top priority, just like they have made this country the top priority in their lives and their families. This is not the end of this fight, Mr. President. I'm here right now on this floor. Senator Sanders will be back in a matter of hours to ask again for the same measure. Again, I've been proud to partner with him on this effort, and I will keep working with whomever it takes for however long it takes until we get the working people of this country relief. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the floor.
Well, quite fiery, and I have to agree with every word that he said there.
Yes, but yeah, we will talk about later about talks and walks. Yeah.
And here's us going over the cliff.
Yeah.
And on top of this, like I said, McConnell is taking hostages. He's doing their utmost to link immunity, absolute immunity, to corporations and companies against any wrongdoing that's in any way associated with this pandemic. And I have friends. I have a friend who's working in one of those one of those discount stores that let's call it large fields, and they're telling me that they're preventing their employees from knowing if somebody gets sick. They're not warning the rest of them. They just send the person that's sick home, and they don't tell anyone if they got COVID, if they tested positive for COVID or not. Some people tested positive for COVID. And if they're lacking people in the store, they're bringing people from other stores. So they're increasing the likelihood of spreading it even to other areas by bringing people from outside. And that kind of behavior, McConnell would want it to be legal, and you have no recourse to sue them if something goes wrong. And this goes to meat packing. This goes to a lot of things. Let's see a little excerpt explained about this.
Mitch McConnell is talking about trying to have total immunity for big corporations for really anything that's remotely connected to the coronavirus crisis. He's reconvening the Senate today, he says, for the purpose of granting immunity to big corporations, and he says he won't let the next stimulus/relief bill go through unless it includes provisions to protect big corporations from lawsuits. This is not just about, although it's especially about, protecting employers from lawsuits for endangering their workers. It's also about lawsuits protecting companies from endangering their workers. It probably means protecting corporations from lawsuits over environmental pollution, maybe even violations of the civil rights law, fair wage law, and even more. This is a long-term agenda of the Chamber of Commerce and big business. Mitch McConnell sees an opportunity with the coronavirus to capitalize, and he's trying to get broad immunity for corporations for all the kinds of wrongdoing they might commit during the period of the crisis. In fact, for workers don't have much recourse anyway for dangers at the workplace. If you're injured or become ill at the workplace, you're entitled to workers' compensation. It's just a straight insurance system. So you get paid for your time off, some portion, and compensation for your health care and any injury you may suffer. But you can't sue companies in court normally. The only time you can sue a company in court for an injury or exposure to an illness is when they engage in egregious misconduct, reckless endangerment of the workers. So when McConnell says he wants to protect the companies from lawsuits, he mostly means he wants to protect their right to engage in egregious misconduct. There's one case that's going on right now in Missouri that's slightly different, involving meatpacking workers. There, the workers are not suing for money damages. They're suing for injunctive relief to force the Smithfield meatpacking plant to adopt the sensible minimal standards needed to protect workers who are going to be required to go to work, to give them the protective equipment they need, to make sure there's adequate sanitation, extended breaks, that they get adequate sick leave, that there's testing, and crucially, that there's sufficient distancing at the production line. That's the lawsuit that is the primary one that the companies and Mitch McConnell are focusing on. It doesn't even ask for any money. It only asks Smithfield to protect its workers.
Yeah, so you see, it's not even. I mean, we're talking about situations where the misconduct would be egregious. It's not even like things where the it's not like other situations that you could say, well, we don't have full protection. We're talking about like misconduct here, so, and he still wants to protect that. Again, this hostage taking has moved from this taking the direct assistance part of it out of the equation, but that's still an upcoming battle in January regarding the other phase of this, and it's not going away. So we have to keep our eyes on that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, what can we say? It's that there's a discussion around this. As I said, it's ridiculous. Look at the other nations. Look at the world, how they are treating their citizens. Yeah, you can feel yourself like being third, fourth class citizens, right?
Yeah.
Don't worry about the rich guys. They get everything they would need. They maybe don't even have to ask for it. They only
these are
they're only holding the money in the air, and that's it.
For common folks, it's and people in the service industry, it's grueling. It's really difficult. They're told to come back to work. They cannot afford not to. They lose their jobs. It's
Yes.
hard, and they're sacrificing left and right, and Congress and Senate is not willing to even come a little bit towards them at the moment. It's just
And it's
obnoxious.
it's not only about a new how they call it, stimulus bill or something like this.
Right.
If it should be an aid bill, to help people. But it's not only about this. It is also about the question of healthcare in general. And this
Right.
brings us to our next segment.
Marcus, before
Yeah,
you move
sorry.
to the next segment, I
Yes.
wanted to ask our audience to
Oh, okay,
please
cool.
please
Cool.
like this if you agree with what we're presenting. If you think this is important discussion, share it. It's how the word gets out. Share it on your social media. Share it with your friends. That's how we will get the buzz about all these issues going. So please do that. Yeah, Marcus.
Yeah, well, as I said, it is not only connected to giving money to people in need. It is about the general question about healthcare, and it is ridiculous. I can only repeat myself. It is ridiculous for me in Germany to see that nearly in 2021 nothing is solved in America, and that so many people don't get what should be no question at all, that they should get help in case they need it, and I think that the time for discussion is over, and that I'm still a fan of AOC. I think she stands for the good things. But I also sense that she definitely can do more. And I think that she should fight more. She should not look at which feelings are hurt in the Democratic Party, but she should think about who elected her into the House of Representatives. And I'm pretty sure that if you ask the people who voted for her 2 times what she should do right now, I think the answer would be quite clear. And I think it is no question. If you look at the polls for years, that the majority of the American people, be it Democrat, be it independent, be it Republican, be it Green or whatever, the majority, the clear majority, wants to have what all the other world also has already, and for years, decades, and I think there she it is over. If you look at the developments in the Democratic Party since it was clear that Joe Biden won the election, and look at the nominees, the candidates he picked, and look at the latest development that AOC, for example, was blocked from the Energy and Commerce Committee. There you see absolutely that they are doing everything to keep the progressive wing under control, to keep them down. So what do? You can roll on your back and wait until someone pats your belly, and says everything will be good, or you fucking can stand up and fight for it. We know that AOC is excellent on Twitter, that she has very often very pointed and very, very straight answers, to accusations against her. But it's over. It's not the time anymore for Twitter and stuff. I think the Americans, and especially the people who voted for her, and for the others from the squad, for the complete progressive wing, they want to see them united, and they want to see them finally fighting for healthcare, for Medicare for all. And I think it's I think the majority of our viewers also unfamiliar with the discussion around it in the last week, starting with Jimmy Dore, who went after AOC. And in my personal opinion, Jimmy Dore was 100% right in what he said, but the tone was not was not that good. It is a question, how you try to transport a message. You can do this in an aggressive way, and you can do this in a more quiet way, and we got all the facts on our side, which in favor of Medicare for all, and it is not helpful, to call people names, and to say to dismiss other left-oriented or progressive voices on the internet or somewhere else. I think this is not helpful, but it doesn't change it doesn't change the message of Jimmy Dore. He is 100% right. You have to expect that the progressive wing starts to fight finally. You cannot wait for Nancy Pelosi or Chuck Schumer or all the other hacks there until they decide it is now the time, which will never happen, of course, to do something. So let's and look what AOC said. Look at the first tweet. As an answer to the accusations, to the video clip of Jimmy Dore. She says, some people say a co-sponsor list isn't genuine, and forcing a vote, even if it fails, will add clarity by putting people on the record, even though co-sponsor list is on the record. Problem is with the GOP Senate, people can still disingenuously vote because they know it's going to a graveyard. I think this is a lame excuse, with this attitude, she would have not made it to Congress, right? And I think it is important to know by signature who is on your side or not. Of course, they can poker and say, okay, on the Senate floor it won't pass, so it doesn't matter if I get my signature below this bill. But your signature is your signature, and we can hold you. What's the name? Help me, please, Amos. We can hold you
accountable.
Yes, exactly. Sorry. And I think this is a message, and there's also another thing which Amos pointed out when we were in the green room before the show. The question around Medicare for all, being now on the agenda, on the top agenda, it also would influence the outcome of the Senate race in Georgia. Because if you look there, if the Democratic Party would officially, at least on the House floor, support the Medicare for All bill, it would have a big influence in the Senate race in Georgia, because, as we know in the polls, the majority of even the Republicans are in favor of such a bill. So it could be a deciding step, apart from knowing who's on the progressive side or not, right? So I think this as an answer is a little bit weak. This is not what I expect from a person like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and this is disappointing. And I hope she come to sense that she will learn that her approach to the Democratic Party, to the leaders of the Democratic Party, failed so far. So she gotta rethink, and she gotta rethink with all the other progressives in the party what the next steps would be. And I think the suggestion Jimmy Dore made is absolutely fantastic, because it only works with pressure. And if you remember back, it was AOC who once also said that you can push politics only by pressuring. So they need the pressure. So we need someone who puts the pressure on them. And we got them. They were elected. They only have to find finally the courage to do this, because they finally got to learn that they don't have to expect anything from the establishment of the Democratic Party. So why not fighting them? And you saw the video of Nina Turner, No Honeymoon. She knows exactly what's going on. And so she purposely put this video out. No honeymoon for Joe Biden. Right? And I think this is the clear message. And as I said, the tone of Jimmy Dore, it would not be mine. Sometimes I'm also raging, but the message of him is absolutely 100% correct. And they need the pressure. They need to put the pressure on the Democratic Party. There is absolutely no question. And today, he even, it was yesterday in the evening, he had a long discussion with Dr. Cornel West, and even Dr. Cornel West absolutely took position, and he said, "Jimmy, your message is absolutely right." And so some are criticizing Jimmy Dore for this, but in my opinion, it's a message which counts. And to defend Jimmy Dore a little bit, he's preaching this for so many years right now. And I can understand that there is a time where you are absolutely fed up with the shit, and where you're losing it, and he lost it, And but he was right, and he is right, and I hope it will change. And if you look at the other tweets, and there you see Alexandria Ocasio, she's complaining now. So now you've actually made life harder for organizers, because if you suspect a co-sponsor isn't genuine and all this stuff, she's writing there. This is lame. Jimmy Dore is right. Tell Nancy Pelosi, you don't get our vote if you don't put this Medicare for All bill on the floor. Period. And then let's see how they react. Well, this is what I can say. This is my take from the week's discussion around Jimmy Dore and AOC and Amos. You also saw this week. What is your take from this?
I did. I think again, I have a lot of disagreements with Jimmy Dore. I think it's childish, and it's very counterproductive to attack everyone who is not agreeing with your strategy, even if they're on the same page in terms of the ultimate goal to label them as phonies or fakes or sellouts or whatever. I saw AOC's shoes. I know she put herself out of comfort zone, not for herself, but because she believes in something. Now she may be in a different situation now, and I don't envy, frankly, those people who are in Congress having to play the political game at the same time as pushing our agenda forward in such a hostile environment. And it's easy to criticize. I think, though, she's wrong in this account. And I think that Jimmy Dore is right in this account. I think holding Nancy Pelosi's position hostage to putting this bill on the floor is the correct thing. We're not even talking about passing the bill. We're talking about putting it on the floor. And then let's see who puts their name down and who is on record. And my guess is that it has a decent chance of passing because the majority of the American people is on board with it. And once that, if
This doesn't
that
mean
happens,
anything.
well, it doesn't, but in a way it does. But if that passed the House, I think their concern is that that would put additional pressure on those two senators running for the runoff positions in Senate in Georgia. I think, though, that the calculation is wrong. I think that, like you said, like my position was, I think that if anything, it may help them because all of a sudden there's a specter of this bill passing if the Senate approves it, and if there's a real chance, people will rally around it, and that would be the main topic of consideration about these two senators' race, and they may win just on base of that. So I think that might actually be a positive thing. And let's not wait to line everything up perfectly. I don't know many bills that passed off the top, like on the first run, any controversial bills. I think that takes some time. Sometimes you fail a couple of times, and with the attempts to repeal Obamacare, it was 40 times that they tried it. We could try once passing this bill. There's no harm in that. I don't think that there'll be political capital lost. If anything, this is going to be a rally cry and a mobilizing tool for progressives, if anything. And the real danger is actually fizzling out momentum and progressive losing that momentum, losing that leadership and the chance. Why not learn from the Tea Party? When the Tea Party came into the Republican Party, they turned chairs upside down and they got results. And we should learn from that. I'm not a Tea Party admirer, of course, but I think we should learn where the lessons can be learned. And this is one where AOC should pay attention, and not just her, but I think all the progressives should realize that there is true grassroots support for this, and if they champion this, people will rally behind them in no time. This is like possibly the most least controversial thing that is in the progressive agenda that they could run on to strengthen. It's not gonna cost political capital. It's gonna multiply it.
And talking about momentum, you're absolutely right. Momentum. We have the momentum, absolutely. We have a pandemic.
Exactly.
And
Republicans
also here's Jimmy Dore is absolutely right. When would you get health care if not in the middle of a pandemic? If you don't get it today, now.
Exactly. And
you
Republicans
won't get it never, ever.
Yeah, that's correct. And Republicans and establishment Democrats know exactly. There's a phrase that goes like that: "Never waste a good crisis," and that is exactly what they do with regards to things that do not benefit people but benefit others. And why not use the same principles where it comes to people?
Look, the establishment on both sides used the crisis to feed their fucking rich fucks. And now I think it's absolutely legitimate, to put now to say, okay, if you think you can feed them, you can feed the rich guys, so we want what's ours, and we don't have to talk about this. Healthcare as a human right, and it is fucking crazy to talk about this in December 2020, and pressure. And if you see what did the progressives achieve so far? There was a video coming out from AOC a couple of days ago, in which she listed the achievements. I would say, okay, everything is fine, but these are only the crumbs the Democratic Party establishment allowed you to get. The EEC seat was given to Kathleen Rice. Yes. Kathleen Rice, I think two years ago, you said she threatened Nancy Pelosi not to vote for her, and now she got the seat. This tells you how you got to play this game.
And it's not just AOC that was snubbed. It's all the progressives that ran against
all of them
against corporatists lost their positions. So it's
if this behavior doesn't cause a battle cry as a reaction, then I don't know. Then they can go. They're worthless. If they don't take this, as a start, as a sign now to push back.
I think they will. I don't see them not getting that message.
They have no other chance. They have no other chance.
And I think that's
credible.
And that's a big mistake by the Democrats, by the way, to have pushed them in that direction, because people like AOC or others may have perhaps tempered their actions, but if they don't have any, they see that it's not to any end, they will just lash out and rightfully so.
Sorry, and I was wrong. Susan Rice. Thank you, Barbara.
Not Susan Rice.
Kathleen Rice.
No, it was Kathleen Rice.
It was okay.
Yeah, Kathleen Rice got the nomination for the energy.
Because Barbara was correcting me. Okay, anyway, and it was Kathleen Rice. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's the heated topic of the week, and well, as I see in chat, it is also a big discussion around this. I think nearly all of them were watching us. It's not surprising me. They all wanna have Medicare for all, because it makes sense.
Shout out to Kulinski and to Jordan Sheridan and others who've all agreed with this position. Yes. In spite of all the differences, they agreed with Jimmy on this, and so I think
because if you look at the facts, you only have to agree,
Yeah.
And you only have to agree to the next step the progressives have to do. Anyway, the next topic, which is depressing, an article from Jacobin I found this week. In the wealthiest country in history, Americans are desperately struggling with hunger. For a few short weeks last spring, it seems like the tectonic plate of America's political consensus could be about to shift. Amid talk of massive public spending, enhanced support for the unemployed, and even the conscription of private industry under the Defense Production Act, it momentarily appeared that the pandemic might at least put a dent in decades of bipartisan aversion to social democracy and activist government. Yeah. And if you look at the highlights, I only want to quote them. Yes, Americans haven't received direct cash aid since a wave of 1,200. We know this. The checks went out last spring. Today is December. The year is about to change. You were left alone for many, many months from your own government. It goes on. Both a federal moratorium on evictions and remaining unemployment assistance for 12 million people are set to expire by year's end. So 12 days.
And that's unless they change something, they may change something, but up to now they haven't. What is important is that Bernie Sanders and others. Yeah,
Yes,
Bernie
but
Sanders and others have made sure that there's going to be some aid in rental payments. So that's also important, because it's not just delaying an eviction, but
it is important, but it is only a drop on the hot stone, if you want so, right? You know, it is too few to survive. You know, yeah. It goes on. According to recent analysis by the paper, more Americans are currently going hungry than at any point in at least the past 22 years. This is absolutely crazy. Think back 22 years. 1998, 99. It's crazy. It's in 2 decades, you know, in which the world developed further. Not for Americans. It goes on. 1 out of every 8 people reported not having enough to eat, sometimes or often, throughout the past week. Isn't this terrible? Isn't this terrible for the wealthiest country, that their own citizens are hungry, are starving? Almost twice the overall rate, or some 22% of black households, reported going hungry in the survey. 22% of the black households is crazy. Though the worst outbreaks of hunger are mostly in southern states like Alabama, Louisiana, and Mississippi, higher than average rates are also scattered in areas across the Midwest and even some coastal regions. Well, is it a South state problem? Are the South states treating their people even worse than the other states of America? I'm raising the question because I have no answer, because I'm no American citizen, you know.
I'm not sure either.
You know?
I don't know exactly what the local politics is. I would presume that some of it is because of the Republican ownership of these states.
Yeah. It goes on. While Americans have never benefited from social democratic institutions as robust as those found in many less wealthy European countries, decades of neoliberal orthodoxy have successfully ground their equivalents down to dust. And that's exactly the point. You know? Yes. Amid a global pandemic, the countries... Hold on. Can you go back? Okay. Amid a global pandemic, the country's aversion to welfarism and a lack of a functioning social safety net is quite literally pushing tens of millions towards starvation. Is this acceptable? Is this acceptable for the wealthiest country in history? What Bernie Sanders refers very often to, you know, in the history of the world. Is this acceptable?
It's crazy.
It's absolutely, you know, and if you look at the videos, you know, you find on the internet, right? You see those people are queuing up miles long to get something they can feed their families. This is America. I repeat myself. The question is: this the American dream?
It's reminiscent of the 30s and the Big Depression, with except now it's the people, middle class that's bearing
the people. The people got to wake up. They gotta wake up, you know. And yeah, let's see what. Let's run the clip from Nina.
At this point, COVID stimulus, though McConnell now says he will move forward, though he's absolutely insisting on this shield for corporations. Talk about the significance of this and what exactly you want to see in a stimulus package.
I definitely, Amy, want to see the guaranteed basic income, not a one check. Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez is absolutely correct. That one-time check does nothing, even if it was in there. We need guaranteed basic income, especially for the magnitude of this particular crisis. Amy and Juan, it shows a heartlessness. You want to talk about a shield for businesses? What about the shield for the American people? What about the shield for folks who are facing eviction? What about the shield for people who go to bed hungry every night? What about the shield for the homeless? This is a heartless way to do the people's business, their bidding. And the American people are going to have to stand up and say, in the words of Fannie Lou Hamer, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. How heartless do you have to be to care more about industry and corporations than you do about the everyday people of this nation, Amy? This cannot continue. And the healthcare portion of it, absolutely right. We need Medicare for all right now. We needed it before the pandemic. We especially need it right now. And we know that millions, almost 14, 15 million people have lost their employer-sponsored, air quote, health care, on top of the millions of people, almost 97 million or so people who are already uninsured or underinsured. This is a crisis of epic proportions. It was a crisis before the COVID, and it is especially a crisis right now, and it cannot be tolerated. It cannot stand.
Yeah, absolutely right. And if I look at those pictures, if I look at those people queuing up there, of getting some food, it reminds me of what we had 3 decades ago, when Germany was divided, when we had the Eastern Germany and Western Germany. Eastern Germany was a socialist country, which had big problems, to get their people fed, and this is only visionary. This is exactly what we saw, from what we know from that times in the east part of Germany, and it is heartbreaking to see those people there, and yes, and Nina Turner is right. It has to end, and the people have to find someone who gives them shelter. And yes, I hope that the party can be restructured, to really get a party for the people again, But this takes time, and I'm not sure if we have it. But let's roll the other clip, man.
Why they're doing it. They're playing games with the American people. This is a complicated issue. I believe firmly that we have to get the checks. The $300 is certainly not enough at all. As a matter of fact, we're going backwards and not going forward. And we got to awaken the sleeping giants in this country. Why? It's unacceptable. American people, and I know COVID is out there, and I don't want anybody to get COVID, but we got to stand up strong, and we got to find a way to make it known that this kind of throwing crumbs, if you will not be tolerated. We need a social contract. That is our money, Juan and Amy, our money. And I want the American people to understand that you got people in the Congress, in both chambers, who are playing games with our money. That money should be given back to the American people that fund this nation, period. So it just cannot be accepted.
Yeah. I have nothing to add. Nina said it all. It's unacceptable and has to change. Yeah. Next segment. Or do you have anything to add to
No,
what we have seen there?
she's very articulate in what she's saying, and I agree with every word.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Agreeing with every word, I remember the times, when I liked Tulsi Gabbard, right? But she's leaving politics. She's leaving, I think in the next couple of days, within 3 weeks, she's out. And the last thing she's putting on the table is a very strange thing around transgenderism and transgender women, girls, and well, I don't want to go into the details. I'm only wondering, and I would like to ask our chat, because I know there are many people who are a lot smarter than me. Maybe they know what does it mean. Tulsi Gabbard on the way to go. She is in transition, if you want so, right? Coming up with this one suddenly in times when we have much more serious problems than this, and she puts herself in a light. It was always a little bit difficult, to see her as someone who is really progressive. She in the past she also had very strange reactionary traits, but I had sympathy for her, but this vanished more and more. It was very strange when around Bernie, the thingy, why she didn't support Bernie. There was something behind. We still don't know. Very mysterious. But she lost, in my opinion, she lost a lot of credits on my account, if you want so. And I'm looking at the chat now. Is anyone who knows what the intention is behind this transgender alarmism? Because I'm lost. I'm completely lost. And I asked Amos also before. And Amos, what did you say? Do you have any clue what this means?
Well, there's been accusations before that she was not very LGBTB friendly, and then she apologized. She says she was wrong, and now she's back to where she was. So God knows. And just as a reminder, this was a similar bill to what Kelly Loeffler, the one running for Senate in Georgia now, has also supported a very similar bill where they're like attacking women's sport, transgender people in women's sport. Go figure why this is important. All the explanations that this puts women at a disadvantage if they're competing against a stronger athlete. I mean, what about the opposite direction? And it's not even true. It's not even a generalization you can make, because there's people who may be born with a penis but have every other part of their body feminine, and why should they be discriminated against because they were born with a penis? Like it's absolutely outrageous.
Yes, but exactly. And the question which I raise is. Is this the last political heritage of Tulsi Gabbard? If so, it would be very, very disappointing, right?
It's sad.
Yeah, and
she has still her backers like Nick House. He's not going to change that, no matter what she says. It's just odd.
Yeah. Julie Love says it's unfair for huge ex-guys to compete with women. I agree. I'm not anti-trans. Julie Love, from the matter itself, it is discussable, absolutely, But I'm asking about the timing. She's going out of the house. She's not candidating anymore. Why is she putting this up right now? This is the question, Julie, right? It is worth a discussion, and how far it is compatible, and so far, but going out of Congress and leaving this note for a goodbye, it's stupid to me. Sorry.
The only thing I can imagine is that she worked on this for a while and she doesn't want it to go to waste.
Yes, then she has problems. Then this woman has real problems. Yeah, in those times. Right. Anyway, well, I only wanted to raise it because I absolutely could not understand what's behind it, And so okay, let's forget about Tulsi Gabbard. She's out anyway soon, and let's talk about the shortcuts. You got something around Tesla, and
Well,
Tell us
before we
more.
get into Tesla, Tesla is actually happy news, but well, not Tesla, but the next topic is going to be. But before that, I wanted to mention there's an article in The Intercept about the CIA training and abetting death squads in Afghanistan, a death squad named 01, Unit 01, that's gone to madrasas around the country in the central part of Afghanistan and executed people on the ground, and including children as old as 8 in the madrasas. So let that sink for a second. The CIA has helped Afghani forces go and execute up-and-coming terrorists, so to speak, that are children in madrasas. And nobody's speaking about it. Nobody's condemned the U.S. for doing so. The reason why they're doing it is probably because Trump is trying to get out of Afghanistan as fast as possible. He wants that to be his legacy, and to do that, he has to strike terror and create a destruction in the eyes of the Taliban in terms of what they're doing, and the human toll is mounting. So that's something you should check out, this article, the CIA Afghanistan death squads, in The Intercept, and I'll post that also as a link. Next is something actually a little fun, and that is a new vehicle that's going to be put on the market called Aptera, and that's the name is called after wingless flight. And this is a new concept of a bunch of entrepreneurs that redesign vehicles from the ground up to figure out what is the vehicle, that the shape that would cause zero drag and be the most aerodynamic. And they came up with this form and built everything around it. This vehicle is built on lightness. Its body is Kevlar and some other composite materials that are very light. So there is much better use, much more efficient use of the energy in order to propel the vehicle, as opposed to waste it on drag and other things. It only seats 2 at the moment. These cars seat 2, but they have a storage compartment that's pretty nice. They have solar panels built into the entire body. And those solar panels are pretty efficient because they can drive the car without the charge. If you drive below 45 miles per hour in sunny areas, you don't even have to plug the car in. If you do plug the car in, you can go up to 1,000 miles. 1,000 miles on a single charge, if you can believe it. This is more than twice than Tesla and the other competitors at the current time. So what is this gonna cost you? $25,000 in the first run. They've already sold out of the first 3,000 spots, and this is coming to market in the upcoming year. So let's hope. Their previous run, like two years ago, I believe, they tried it. They ran out into financial trouble and they had to abandon it, and now they're back in the game. Let's hope that this goes through, because this thing can put Tesla in the that's clearly a much better product than Tesla in terms of energy efficiency. Let's watch the video.
I look at vehicles and I just see big flat panels driving down the road. Everything looks like a square box. Are we ever going to make something that looks like a square box? Absolutely not.
With our Never Charge technology, you can drive and drive with just the power from the sun. It keeps your battery pack topped off, and anywhere you want to go, you just go. Aptera really stands out from the crowd because it focuses on the science of efficiency.
A 1,000-mile range vehicle, it was an insane claim, but it's all science.
More aerodynamics, lighter weight, efficient powertrain, gets you further with less energy.
Wow.
How
So
fast can it? How fast can it go?
It's
You know.
pretty sporty. It actually has muscle. It can spring. I forget the figures, but it surprised me how its acceleration goes. It's pretty vigorous. Thank you so much, Al. You say thanks for $5. I don't give because I have plenty. I give because I know what it's like to have nothing at all. Give what you can when you can. Thank you so much, Al, and we appreciate it greatly.
Thank you very much, Al. You're great, man. Well,
So, we have a few more satire pieces for to round up with, and let's go through them. So I see you have a 4-year gap on your resume. Did you work in the Trump administration? No, I was in prison, I swear.
uh-huh. Yes, and oops, pardon me, forgive and forget. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Rudy, and if you can go back, you know, if you look at his hat, you know,
Yeah.
there's something dripping off.
That's right, I didn't notice that.
The emperor has no evidence. Mr. Barr.
It was kind of crazy to watch Barr like squirrel, like how he could get fired and still suck up to Trump. It's just it's so embarrassing. Yeah. It's so humiliating, and those people just don't have any self-respect or honor.
Yes. And self-respect and honor. Look at Lindsey Graham, right? He, I think last week he finally made it to congratulate Joe Biden for his win, right?
Yeah.
And I learned that of course he was a close friend of Joe Biden before, you know. And this ended. I think Jill Biden said Lindsey Graham is not anymore welcome in our house, you know. And but they were buddies, you know. Of course,
they were
for
right.
the long decades, of course.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Go on.
I lost the elections and I can't get up. I think everybody above a certain age remembers this ad.
Yes, yeah. I ain't wearing no mask. I ain't getting no vaccine. Okay, we got the coronavirus vaccine. Any word on the vaccine for stupid? Yes. My body, my rights.
Yes.
Yes, and the latest team, you know.
Yes, latest team member.
Yeah. What should we do with people who rely on government handouts but are too lazy to work? Kick them out of Congress. Yeah. Yes. It's not Obama's third term. It's his policies, and his people. Ooh.
And some Christmas spirit.
Yes.
You know, like Christmas
Darth
spirit.
Turtle.
And there's what I really want for Christmas.
Yeah.
What would you like for Christmas? A unicorn. Be realistic. A government that doesn't violate my rights and plunders my wealth. What color of unicorn?
Yes, exactly. And we nearly made it, you know. Apart from the satire roundup where we just mentioned Trump a few times,
yeah.
we avoided the complete show. We didn't have Trump mentioned one single time.
I wish I remembered. There was a clip online. I don't know if you've seen it, but there was a clip of Trump being rolled out of the White House. I'll have it here next time. It was very funny.
Yeah, and today I talked. I phoned with my aunt, and she said, "What's going on in America, Marcus? You know, we have nothing to laugh anymore since Trump lost the election. You know, this is a very, you know, you got to see that my aunt is not very close to American politics. You know, but of course she knew what kind of idiot Trump was, and but she's missing him already. You know, on a funny way.
Yes. And just to mention a couple of things, we had the last program I had here. Thanks you guys who joined. I had some audio problem. I apologize for that. I cleaned some of that audio up and put it back on. Unfortunately, it's not completely cleared, and I couldn't deal with the guest's audio. There was some loop that I was not aware of. But it is an important segment about the pipeline, the Enridge Line 3, and the upcoming Keystone XL are pushing on. They're trying to get a loan, and I did an overview of what it all means, what is the history of this struggle, and where we are right now. I was joined by a young activist, very impressive young activist, Sasha Louis Norell, who explained some of these things, and I recommend all of you to join it and spread it on. We also, I previously had 2 progressive updates on both the Warnock-Loeffler race and the Perdue versus Ossoff race, and as well I hope that you help disseminate that, because we really need 2 more senators in Senate to even have a chance of passing anything on our agenda. So if we don't have that, you can forget any likelihood of anything passing. With that, we have a standing chance. So keep it real, send it on, and let's get those 2 guys elected. If you can afford to donate, they're really not they're not corporatists as far as we can tell, and they're even slightly progressive, even though not quite, as you will tell from the video. Especially Ossoff is a little less, maybe Warnock is more so, but they're definitely possible allies for progressives in Senate. That's it.
Yeah, and next week, Cork Radio, of course, is still a topic. And next week, we have John with us, who gives us a new update on what's going on with Cork Radio. And I think he has very, very good news for us.
And I know you guys love John and can't wait for him to join us.
Yes, and of course, if you want to join Cork Radio, you can do this. You can please can you show the slides for this, Amos? And you can become a member. You know, you would get exclusive content on Discord. You know, and for just 100 new members, we could easily run the radio station, and it would be great to if you guys join us on Discord and support us. And if you want to volunteer and be actively involved in Cork Radio, you also can send us an email to corkfm.com/volunteer, and yes, and then we would contact you and see how far we can work together. And as I said, next week John will be here with good news. And well, that's all for today. Quite a long show, but yeah, we had a lot to cover also. And I would like to thank Amos. I would like to thank our viewers in the chat, and thank you all for watching, and yeah, for supporting us, of course. And we're going out, you know, I'm complaining nearly every week about YouTube. It is more and more difficult, you know this. I spare this now. We are running an oldie. It's a band, it was a band from Oregon. It's the Water Tower Bucket Boys, and they are bringing Meet Me Where the Crow Don't Fly. And I hope you enjoy this. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. Stay safe. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Take me by the hand so we can reach reach into the plant to make us fly. Meet me by the dried up lake, and please make sure you leave no way. Come on, step onto the boat so I can reach into your throat and make it dry. And everyone that chose it, you can't tell they know, 'cause everyone is all the same. Don't fly. Meet me, you might have to lie. Don't take me by the hand so we can reach into the plant to make us fly. By the dried up lake, and please make sure you leave no way. Go and step onto the boat so I can reach into your throat and make it dry. And everyone that chose it, you can't tell they know, 'cause everyone is all the same. Everyone is all the same.